YouTube, welcome to the top 16 with the brand new ban list being applied into today's event, and we see within the very first duel the ban list having an effect. With Swap Frog being fully unlimited, it's time to whip back out our Spright deck. This is it, and we're going to be playing against nerfed Tenpai. Chundra to 1, Kaiman to 2, but that is not stopping Terramere because we have the power of Pirellia to draw per summon from the hand. And what does a Spright deck love doing? They love summoning from the hand, so this will be a very good counter. We, of course, have Spright going first. By watching as long as you can, that greatly supports these videos, even if you're doing something else. And with that said, Hajime.
There can only be one winner, and you're looking at it. Let's go.
Pirellia in the standby phase. As I've been saying, use your hand traps in the standby phase, not the draw phase, because a lot of people are playing around Drone Lockbird, thus they're trying to activate the cards within the draw phase that may result in a search where the droll cannot be used. Thus, you do not want to shotgun your effect, and then they chain their effect to special summon in addition to that, so just wait. Deep Sea Diva, we are not going to imperm that. We're going to hold it. We're going to hold the imperm, likely for a gigantic Spright. As we summon the Hexa Spirit, send from the deck a Mirror Mage, which will then add the Freezing Chain to the Ice Barrier, which could reborn the Mirror Mage from the grave back on the field. Now, by waiting with your impermanence, that means they could set up a Spright Elf to then put the gigantic Spright behind it, where it would then become untargetable. Realizing that that is the setup of what they're potentially doing, we're going to be just imperming the Spright Elf Reborning. As you notice there, we did draw due to the Pirellia, thanks to them summoning from the hand. We have Mannequin Cat, which does potentially have a disruptive effect. It's quite interesting. If a monster is summoned to your opponent's field, you then target any monster they control, and then you get to summon a monster with the same type or attribute from your hand, deck, or graveyard. It's really going to be up to whatever type of card they summon. So I would say, for example, they summon a Thunder or a Fire, we then get to summon a Spright Red. All right, let's see what's good. In addition to that, we do have Impermanence. We have the Double Cross, which could essentially steal a monster or suck it up as an Xyz material. I would say this is a solid 2 to 3 disruption, maybe 4 if we want to reborn. Ooh, Harpy Feather Duster. Wiping out the back row, forcing us to double cross early. Wipe it up. Now, where are our forms of disruption now that we lost the ability to suck up a card, the ability to negate? The Elf could reborn the Spright Red, but the Red is stuck under the Mannequin Cat. I will still count that as a disruption. And I'm going to be hopeful and say that the Mannequin Cat will turn into a form of disruption, but maybe it won't. So maybe 2 disruption. Ooh, Gold Sark into banishing a Blaster. Dragon Ruler from the deck. By the way, I am recovering from being sick over the weekend, so I do sound a bit different. Sorry about that. As we get to search our deck for any Fire Dragon, we have the Pydra setting up into the back row, our Sangan Summoning. Sangan Summoning is going to be searching for a Genroku. Genroku will now be triggered. Make sure you discard the right one, not the one you just added. As we now Chundra Special Summon, and it's now time to Mannequin Cat summon for the deck a Druish Swarm. How do we get Druish Swarm in the grave? I guess that's not a form of disruption. Okay. We do, how do we even get the red in grave? I think we just have nothing. What? We have nothing. No way. Nothing activatable. 0 disruption whatsoever. It was a big maybe on the 2, which ended up being nothing. And this, of course, is lethal damage. The Druish Swarm cannot activate thanks to the overwhelming power of the Transcendent Dragon, turning off every other effect from the opponent. They cannot activate anything whatsoever. Let's speed this up, or actually, let's just watch this out. Yes? This is going to be a very modest 18,000 damage, triple attack, 6,000 attack. Let's hop into game 2. Now, Nacer can choose for Tenpai to go first. And that is what I believe we should be doing. And there's no side deck in today's event. So all those Pirellias you're main decking, they're stuck in the main deck. Now, you will be discarding them likely with the Sangan Summoning, so you can make some use out of them. Ooh, we passing, straight passing. Full loss is that good. We're going to full loss in the standby phase, as I have been saying is the correct thing to be doing. And, wow. That do be what happening, huh? We have Maxi and Ash at least, right? Okay. Let's see what's good. The problem with Max C is Tenpai doesn't really care. But it's great that we were able to Ash Blossom, and it does perfectly go through, completely stopping their play. Dora doing nothing here. Not a big deal. Not big enough to take out the Mirror Mage, but we're just checking. Let's set this all up. Striker Dragon's main purpose is to trigger Little Knight. That's why you play it. We have 4 Disruption. Oh my, oh my. Mirror Mage being sent to the graveyard, trigger into effect to search the deck for our Freezing Chains, which could reborn the Mirror Mage back onto the field. With our Mirror Mage, we can now make a Nightmare Phoenix or an Elf, but Nightmare Phoenix, good way to start grinding out the back row. Discard the End of Anubis, which is rebornable with our Mannequin Cat. As we normal summon our Maxi going into the the Gigantic Spright, which will then get negated by a Veiler. We do have Crossout Designate, but no Veiler in sight, no Veiler in our deck, mate. Well, they did have the follow-up of Impermanence. Ooh, Damage Step, as you can see there. Or even better, I could show the text here. Start of the Damage Step. So they would not be able to chain any cards here. Normally, most cards are not chainable here, like the Maxi and the Crossout cannot be used. Good use of your Forbidden Droplet. And just like that, Gigantic Spright is no more. Off the top of the deck, a Kaiman to the battle phase. Uh-oh. Kaiman under Maxi. Does Maxi in the battle phase ever stop a Tenpai player? No, it does not. They go all the way. We're going to add the Chandra, summon the Chandra. Chandra, summon from the deck into the Pydra. Pydra, all these effects are not ashable. Can't ash, can't ash. We're going to set a Sangan summoning onto the field. And if we were to draw into a card like Impermanence, which would also not be activatable in the damage step, we're blocked off by the Freezing Chains. We have Bident Dragon activating, reborning from Engrave. Can't Veiler in the battle phase if we were to draw into that. Ogre, now you draw an Ogre. Didn't matter. Oh my Jesus. Even if we were to Ogre the Bident Dragon, it could reborn itself. 3 attacks have happened here, even without the Bidents. Wow. Just like that, Tenpai is clapping. Whether it's being used with Sky Striker or with Pirellia. Well done, Terramare. Thank you, Nacer. Also showcasing some Spright. Let's hop into another match. Let's go. Pirellia, right away. Even a normal summon would result in you drawing. Thus, we make no play. We draw another Pirellia. We have no play of our own. So, Pirellia successfully ended their turn previously. Let's do it again. Thank you for ending my turn again. Back to you. Peak Yu-Gi-Oh! Off the top of the deck, we finally have a play, but they have a way to negate our play. Thus, we are again ending our turn. Forbidden Droplet would allow us to dodge the Veiler by sending the Pydra to the graveyard, but there's no opposing monster to negate. We're going to be banishing to start beating down with our Druid Swarm. There we go. We are in a beat down matchup. We have double disruption here, double monster negates. Finally, no more Pirellia, no Maxi, no Fool Lost nonsense. We're going to Imperm negate the Pydra, and as I said earlier, using Droplet to dodge the Imperm or Veiler. Dodge it, thus also, in addition to that, negate the Druid Swarm, reducing it by half of its attack, grabbing a Kaiman off of that. We're now going to Kaiman, grab the Genroku, get ready with the Droplet, use the Genroku to come forth. We are going to be jumping off into a Fadra. Droplet right now is going to be negating that Fadra. Non-target, negate. Now, we're going to have to use the Genroku to summon from the deck, but we already did. So that's no good. The Fadra's negated from syncering with the Genroku, which is about to be sent to the grave through the effect of the Druid Swarm. Oh boy. We can't even make a Hermetic Seal in main phase 2. Double the Imperm. Now, the ability of being able to summon from the grave and being indestructible by battle, it's still live. So in addition to the double Imperm, we do have an Ash Blossom. Normal Fool Loss. Hida. This is great. Steal their monster. And if it's a good monster, that triggers. If not, we get to use a Promethean Princess to reborn our Pydra. Imperm, negate. Now, you can't Droplet to dodge Imperm if the Hida requires you to summon the monster to where she points to. So she does have to be on the field, so the drop-up play's no good. Well, you heated me. Maybe I heated you, or do I just go to the battle phase because Fodra will trigger? We're going to banish a blaster from the deck, triggering the blaster to add a fire dragon from our deck. Using droplet to negate. Oh boy, I think we lose. How are we going to win this? There's no way. Triggering the Fodra and the Chundra, we could only negate one of them. We either summon from the deck, or we grab a Kaiman from the deck, or field spell. Holy, so nice back and forth. Turn 7 duel, just like that. Let's hop into the next duel. Begin. Hydra is here. Valor, negate. We do have Fiendsmith within our Tenpai deck. Very nice. Well, we do backed up by the Hydra. Imperm, Ash, and Nibiru, triple hand trap disruption. Engraver searching our deck for the Tract. Tract searching for the Luri to then discard, to then get reborn in, and then we're going to start counting for that Nibiru. Reborn the Luri, summon 1. Into summon number 2. Let's speed this up a little bit. Summon 2 into summon 3. Requiem equip onto the Engraver here. Engraver send the Hydra to the graveyard. Sure. Engraver, return Luri back into summon number 4. And then summon into number 5. Nibiruing on the sequence summon. Interesting. We're going to Ash negate the Maxi, which would have resulted in a draw 2 off of that Nibiru summon. Now, by not waiting for the sequence resolution, we do not want the sequence to be returning cards in the grave back in the deck. Okay? The Engraver itself will be able to get returning during the next turn, return sequence back, and then sequence further return. Drew a Swarm, banishing our effect Valor. To battle we go. We're not going to even try to potentially link this off. We're just going to battle, send it, end it. We got Droplet and the Mourner. Double disruption, but can Droplet send a token to the grave as a cost? No. So we just have one disruption between the either we send the Mourner or use the Mourner. What's going on? Droplet, send the Mourner. As I said, one form of disruption. Negate. That's it. We're out of juice. But our juice is in the graveyard. On the very next turn, we do have our Engraver ready to pop off against an Ash Blossom and Impermanence. We'll loss off the top of the deck, return back the sequence to then normal summon the Fool Loss to go into the sequence. First equip the Requiem, send the Dora the Explorer to the graveyard, and now get sequencing. With the sequence activation to fusion summon, it is a great time to imperm, you think? No? Okay. Huh. Imperm the Lacrima instead. Negate. Sure. To battle we go. I don't think we have any MP2 plays, right? Are we going to be making any plays here? Link this off into a Requiem. We're not going to be burning for 1200. Some for the deck are Engraver. Yeah, as I said, no real plays, no forms of disruption. Gold Sark Blaster. We win? That's it? Lethal damage? Okay. Blaster grab the Chundra. And let's see how much damage we can deal here. Some of the deck of Hydra, searching our deck for a Kaiman. We don't have the Sing and Summoning to double the attack of a Trident Dragon. Hydra attacking, then going into the Biden Dragon, activate to reborn the Hydra, wipe away the Engraver. We're going to be activating the Synchro into the Transcendent Dragon, Transcendent into the Bidens, and without even having to use our Kaiman. Lethal damage through 2 bodies on the field. Damn. Tenpai is here. Tenpai is top tier. Tenpai with a ton of hand traps to just heavily disrupt Snake Eye Fiendsmith, and then just wham bam thank you ma'am on the very next turn. Begin. Lelouch, you added me without a question. What's up? We're going to be maxing within the start of their turn, completely ending our turn. That is a big oof. So what you could have done here is the LZ Azamina could fuse into the Risalago, which could search for a Sinful Spoils or Azamina card, but all that does not matter. We have the Diablo Star activating to search for a card already in our hand. Imperm negate. Gotcha. Well, now we full combo off of this. This is lethal damage, 7 to 8 disruptions plus lethal damage. Let's speed this up. Send the Sinful Deception, summon the Risalago into the original Sinful. We're going to link this up into the Moon of the Closed Heaven. Into a scoop. All right, let's hop into game number 2. Anderson, White Force at the top, tributing off the Jerusalem, searching for the Hollowed Azamina. Sylvie searching for the Woes of the White Forest as we're going to make a Risala. So you see this? Risala? Where's the other one? Where is it? Risala, go. Go, no go. Risala, and then Risala, go. Thank you. Woes of the White Forest, when sent, will be triggering, setting itself in the back row. LZ Azamina, special summoning herself or another White Forest from our hand to now make our Queen Diabel. We're going to be triggering the LZ Azamina, searching our deck as we also add back the Call by the Grave to our hand. Ready to get fingering again as we discarded earlier. Deception Sinful, as we are going to be using the Sylvie to attempt to summon itself from Engrave to not get negated by Sylvia. We're going to allow you to Bestial our Sylvie. Interesting, as we summon a Formula Synchron instead. Sure, okay. Magna HUD activating to get searching within the end phase for another Bestial, as we're going to be discarding our finger again for our Diablo Star for the Sinful Spoils of the White Forest, which is a Chimera play of popping multiple cards. Druid Swarm is here. Druid Swarm within the end phase, banishing the LZ before it returns back to the hand. What are our forms of disruption? What is the Saint Azamina even doing? If this card was fusion summoned this turn, thus it has no other relevant effect. It does kind of have another effect though. Your opponent cannot target cards in their field, graveyard, or banishment, including this card. So we can't make the Engraver target our own Requiem play. That kind of messes things up a little bit, I think. The Promethean Princess does not target our own graveyard. It's a non-target reborn. So this is when you start questioning any card in your deck that potentially targets that will now no longer work, like your Hollowed Azamina, right? This targets. Target what you control in your graveyard. You now cannot recycle this, which may be relevant. I'm not so sure. Does Snake Eye Diablo Star target? Target a fire in your graveyard. We end up having quite a few cards that target our own cards, and now we can't do it with her on the field. Now, beyond that nonsense, we do have the ability to flip the entire field face down. We have the ability to pop multiple cards in the field through a Guardian Chimera. We do have the Formula Synchron, which could go into a level 10 Synchro, let's say a Baron to Floor. We have Sylvia negate anything. So in addition to the non-targeting shenanigans, we have 4 disruption plus a Maxi. This could be an interesting turn. I'm excited for it. Formula Synchron right away in the main phase. You have to understand, how can you Formula Synchron in the main phase? The opponent has to do something, and they did. It just doesn't show in the duel log. They declared that they're ending main phase, thus we're going into a Chaos Angel. Chaos Angel banishing the Druid Storm away. We're at triple disruption. Now, you want to click on the Chaos Angel, click on it again, and you want to see which one is highlighted. We do not have the ability of protecting our monsters from battle, but because we did with the light, we are unaffected by monster effects just on our synchros. So this may prove to be difficult to deal with. Tract is going to add Engraver, discard the Lurie. I don't think Engraver doesn't target. It's a cost to just return a Light Fiend back, so the Saint Azamina should not affect that. Larry Reborn. Further going into a Requiem. And I mean, we drew in Nibiru, so the 3 disruptions now 4. We got to bump that up. We have Engraver from the grave. Tract is going to non-target fuse with our hand or fields. Using our hand. Lacrima can't target. What is this Saint Azamina doing? Can't target field, graveyard, or banishment. Lacrima does nothing. Wow. Drew a Swarm, Chain, Banishing. Now, I could target cards in your graveyard still, that's fine. I just can't target myself. Huh. Successfully in battle. Guardian Chimera coming for a pop 2. Ooh, the pop 2 is coming. So this would now put us at triple disruption. 3, well, we got rid of Nibiru, so we're at 2 disruption. Guardian Chimera, Drew a Swarm also sending. Boy. Saint Azamina was very interesting. Actually was quite relevant. Nicely done. 1-1. So it is 2 disruption plus 1 max C. Engraver, grabbing the Tract. We're going to Ash early. Negate. There are 3 good ways to use Ash against Fiendsmith. The number 1 way would be to not use it at all. Use Ash on their main deck that's not the Fiendsmith engine. The other ways would be using it on Tract or the Requiem. We are going to Hallowed Azamina. Send the Sinful Spoils of the Might Force into our Rasala Go. Valor is going to negate. Now we could hope that the Rasala Go will be sent to the grave, as they would then use the Hallowed Azamina, which we would then be able to banish the Rasala Go before it adds back, or we could banish the Hallowed Azamina itself. Since it's not a Bestial, it is more fluid on how we want to use it. What are our forms of disruption here? We just have Valor, plus Max C. Deception Sinful, getting rid of the Flameburst with no level 1 fires to Reborn, as we hit them with that dreaded Max C so we could change our mind. Instead of going into a Rasala Go, we could go into a Sylvia instead. But we don't. We still go into the Rasala Go. Rasala Go is here. Both players are reducing each other by 500. Valor is negating that Rasala Go, as we drew into the Tales of the White Forest, which you have to control an illusion or spellcaster to even activate it, which the Rasala Go does make it activatable. Are we going all the way or what? Uh-oh. Flame on! Into a Nibiru! That's not good. To counter Nibiru, we need access to our Flameburst before our 5th summon, which is now. And then we need to set up a negate before triggering the Flameburst. So just think about that. So far, step 1 has been completed. Just do not trigger the Flameburst. Just wait. Wait, we gotta set up a negate, and then we can trigger the Flameburst. We got Requiem. We could very much play through this Nibiru. Requiem, come forth and summon. Ash, negate. Okay. Nibiru will also trigger the Divine Temple to summon the Flameburst from the back row. Uh-oh. 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 We did not set up a negate before the Nibiru mate. Thus, we're going to get blown out by it. Uh-oh. Yep. That's it, man. That's it. The Ash really pushed us into a position of forcing out the Flameburst early. And there you go. Number 1, access to Flameburst before your 5th summon. Number 2, do not activate Flameburst until after Nibiru or after you have a negate for the Nibiru. Holy moly, Anderson. Have your way with me, my friend. I only have DD Crow, which should not be enough. You are White Forest, so maybe you're not as good as a Snake Eye Fiendsmith deck, but surely you still have great plays. Tales of the White Forest, recycling itself. Hallowed Azamina. DD Crow is going to get banishing the Hallowed Azamina itself. No recycle for you. You will not be summoning a Sylvia or a Rasala Go. We're going to follow up with the Tales of the White Forest, grabbing the Alzette Azamina, which can special summon herself onto the field. We're going to use itself as a Hallowed Azamina, performing a fusion summon into a Sylvia. That is requiring an illusion plus a light spell caster. We're going to grab a Diablo Star from the deck, We're going to use the Wanted Seeker to get a free draw here because our hand size was not big enough, as we now make our Rossella. Rossella on summon, getting rid of our Woes of the White Forest. We're triggering the effect of the LZ Azamina to further search our deck for a Sinful Spoils, which could go into our Guardian Chimera play. The Stellar is here, triggering the effect of Woes to recycle itself into the back row. Sinful Deception is going to be adding an Azamina card from our deck. Sure. We set up the other Deception Sinful. Make sure you play a face up before sending it so it triggers in the end phase. But who are we kidding? There's going to be no end phase this turn, right? Wait. We do have this. We got this. Surely. Say goodbye to the 8,900 defense token through the effect of the Jerusalem being sent to the graveyard. And we further had a follow-up with our Sinful Spoil quick play spell. As just like that, 2-1 victory. White Forest defeating Snake Eye Fiendsmith, the better deck. Let's start this off. Raidraptor, one of my favorite recent decks. It's not so recent anymore. It was released a while ago. Does it say on the card how long ago it came out? It doesn't from here. What the heck, Konami? It's been months. It's been a long while now. Bloom Vulture special summons itself plus another body from our hand. Now, under Max C, that's going to be a draw just one. Doesn't summon, then summon. We are not going to draw ourselves. We're going to keep on going, though, into a Raider's Knight. Raider's Knight is going to detach to do nothing as the Imper negates. We were going to get Searching, and that is not Searching, but special summoning from the deck, that is. We're now going to Mimicry. Engrave, we're going to be searching for our Glorious Brights. Now, do we have any forms of disruption here besides the Drone Lockbird? If you control a Raidraptor, which the Raider Knight is a Raidraptor, we're going to have the ability of targeting a face-up monster your opponent controls. If it's a Raidraptor Exceeds, you could target any type of card your opponent controls, negate the card. So straight up negate plus a draw in Lockbird. Let's see what's good. Now, you got to be careful about the Ostinato. If you negate Ostinato, they could have another Ostinato, which will be activatable right away. Nothing about it is a hard once per turn. It does have the restriction of if you control no monsters, that's it. Only then it becomes activatable. We're going to start this off with the Pressure Planets. This is a confliction here, right? We have to control no monsters to summon a Kashtira, and we have to control no monsters to use Ostinato. We're going to draw Lockbird after you have added, and just like that, our draw gets fingered unless we negate the finger. No negate for you as we negate instead. Negate. Now, you cannot add with Snake Eye Ash, you cannot add with Fenrir, you cannot add with the Unicorn. We're going to Ostinato, send from the deck for a Botcha. Botcha will activate to summon from the deck. The Refrain will not be able to add. But we're going into the Moon. That will trigger the Botcha to reborn the Refrain, Moon into the Requiem. Unfortunately, if it's not Engraver adding tracks, Fiendsmith plays well under Droll. Full combo. We're going to equip onto the Engraver. Engraver is going to send the Requiem plus the Fua Loss, further turning our field into a Sequence. Sequence is going to be fusing with the Graveyard, returning 2 cards back for Lacrima. Lacrima adding under Droll since we're adding from the grave, or we could Reborn instead. It's better to Reborn since we can't add tracked in the deck. We then Tribute Summon for a Fenrir. We got Toy Box after resummoning our Engraver, setting up into our back row a Toy Soldier and Toy Tank. 7,500 damage on the field, thus it's lethal. That's game. By having 6,800 damage plus a Lacrima, Lacrima will then burn for 1,200 in main phase 2. Rip. Boom. Boom. All right. 1-0. All right. Normal summon the Bloom Vulture as we then additional summon our Bird of Perfection. The opponent has no hand trap whatsoever. Oh my. Massive. And This could destroy all other cards your opponent controls on summon. Just like that, we are surrendering. It's also unaffected, so a full field wipe plus unaffected mate. And we didn't even get to the best part, which we'll possibly see within game number 3. Get ready for that. In the top 16, ain't no way. We're gonna Fool Loss right away at the start of the turn. Ash Blossom negate the ability to draw per summon from the extra deck or deck. Not today, as it looks like we have full combo. So if you would like to know what a full combo with a normal summon refrain is, whip out your notes, pad, and paper pen. This is it. We're going to be setting up the couplet, searching for Concerto, fusing with our back row and our main monster for the Bacha. Bacha is going to summon from the deck. You do not want to Ash that. I would say it's best to not chain link block the Bacha. You want to trick your opponent into trying to Ash it. Looks like we ran out of room to, set up with Masquerina. No Promethean Princess. That's quite interesting. Okay. So with this, what we accomplished is a triple monster negate plus a chain banishment plus a non-target negate of up to 2 cards in the field. That's 5 disruption. And that is it. There is no other disruption here whatsoever. 5. Okay. Plus a Bestial, which I'm not going to count as a form of disruption. We're going to summon a Flame Burge. We're going to get swinging onto the Little Knight. We're going to summon an Oak, Reborn the Poplar. So this is too late. You have to, at the start of the battle phase, summon the Linkuriboh. This still dies. Okay? So you have to toggle on. You got to the toggle auto is a Konami employee tapping your shoulder on when they think is best for you to activate your effects, which in many cases is not the best way to play. You still want to, in most cases, play with toggle auto. Otherwise, with toggle on, it's going to be way too much of a nuisance continually being asked to activate your effects over and over. All right, Apollo is going to negate. We have 3 more disruption left. 2 more monster negates plus a non-target negate. What? What? During your main phase 2, if this destroyed, you could add negated. During your main phase, we are using different effects. We're not spamming the same one. Okay. Negated both effects here. Maybe we didn't read that they were using the other effect. I guess we got tricked. Wow. That was interesting. Unfortunately, it was all for nothing. Wow, that was something. That was definitely a wow. We're now making a moon of the closed heaven. We're going to Pendulum summon from our extra deck as we go into our Requiem. Requiem summon from the deck. There's no hand traps. We got nothing. There's the Promethean Princess. It was so close, yeah. Lila, I believe, is a card that has infinite activations. If you want to be activating all day versus an Apollo that wants to keep on negating. And just like that, 2-1 victory. Very unfortunate to see Raidraptor fall. I wanted to see more. You did definitely cook within game 2 to an early surrender, though. All is well. Let's hop into another match. We are going into Chimera now. The Ejim Chain states if sent to the graveyard, it would have added a Frightfur card from your deck to your hand. So we are getting messed up already. Also, what about the Gazelle? If sent to the graveyard, it would have added an Illusion. We lost 2 cards we would have searched due to the Retaliating Sea. This is unfair. We can't even Max C. Max C says send from your hand to the graveyard by a cost. Not activatable. What about Droll? Send this card from your hand to the graveyard as a cost, not activatable. Is this only from the field to the graveyard? Any card sent to the grave is banished instead. Whoa. Randomly banishing a DD Crow. Well, now we can Maxi. And it could search for a Maxi when sent to the grave. There you go. So, I mean, now we could be okay. Now we could activate it. So you floodgate your opponent and then turn it off on your turn. We're going to Maxi in response to the Lurry, reborning from Engrave. Daradurn's deck is essentially what I showed you that I was playing. A deck filled to the brim with hand traps. And one of the great benefits of this deck is when your opponent Maxis or Fua losses you just stop. You don't care because your entire deck is hand traps. So after they end your turn with a Maxi, you should have further disruption from your hand, which we do. This will draw into hand traps, plus we already have a Maxi. Huh? We're not ending. Daradurn, are you good? What are you doing? Are you trying to end the duel on this turn under Maxi? What the? Equip, send. Okay, we got 4,900 damage. 43 that is, because we lost the boost. Is that worth giving him that much more summons? M7. Have you lost your mind, Daradurn? You are under max freaking C. Recycle back the retaliating C. This card is so powerful, it's worth giving them 3 draws just to add it to your hand? No way. Is it that good? We could draw the Max C. We don't. We're not drawing. What? This card got an animation and I don't even know what it does because no one has summoned it until now. An illusion plus a level 6 or higher fiend. You can target an illusion in your grave, special summon it. When an Azamina or Sinful is activated, you could chain to it directly to then target up to 2 cards in the field to then destroy them. Interesting. We have Ash, we have Retaliating, we have Nibiru, we got Steam the Cloak. I was telling you about that card, how good it is. Chaos Angel is here on summon, banishing the M7. Fiendsmith, tracked, add a Lurry, discard that Lurry. We now got a Fua loss in our hand. Reborn the Lurry, drawing into a Ghost Mourner. The deck is all hand traps. Hand trap, hand trap, hand trap, hand trap. Fua loss as you attempt to summon from the deck. Holy moly, I am loving this. Summon a Fiendsmith, draw into a Veiler. Every draw is a separately activatable hand trap. We drew into a Mourner, into an Ogre, into a Veiler, into a Bell. We Nibiru the field. Just like that. Let's go. Wow. But another part of a pillar of good deck building is hand trap resilience. If you're losing the hand traps, you want to play Fiendsmith. If you're losing the turn ones, then you would want to take Fiendsmith out. So you just got to carefully balance all of that. We are going to Palmerize as we are happy to see that there's no retaliating C to our Palmerization, but almost just as bad is a Max C instead. As we fuse this up into a Chimera, and earlier, the Gazelle and Edgem Chain were banished, so they were not able to trigger as they are triggering right now. Searching for the Fright for Patchwork, plus searching for any illusion monster. Now, the Chimera is end phase, randomly discarding a card from the hand. I'm going to grab the Nightmare Apprentice. We don't want to summon it under a Max C, randomly discarding the Serenir. Serenir sending the Lubellion here, so that does confirm we are playing that indeed. Drawing into another hand trap. Oh my Jesus. Engraver searching for a Tract. That's a big draw. Now, normally, Droll against Fiendsmith overall is not so good. If they can go into the Moon, into the Requiem, plus have another body, they make a full play under Droll. But if it's specifically Engraver into Tract, Droll shuts them down completely. The turn ended. That's it. To a Droll. All right, what can we do off of this? We're going to summon a Nightmare Apprentice, which on summon could be a good time to possibly Ghost Mourner. We're not going to Mourner, as the Codal is going to be discarded, searching our deck for the Gazelle. Gazelle on summon is going to be searching for an Evil Hero Sinister Necrom, fusing with it to go into a Baphomet. Baphomet on summon activating as we are going to Gazelle. It's going to send a monster from the deck to the grave as the Gazelle adds another illusion monster as we did previously on the last turn. We now have the Mirror Sword Knight in grave. Now it's worth noting the Codal states that if you're going to target one of our monsters, we're going to negate it. So you do have to be careful about that. We're going to summon in a Dusted Gold from the deck, 8,600 damage on the field. All these hand traps for nothing. Now, the Baphomet could not have been Ghost Ogred, which has to be the direct chain link to the card to destroy it, but we chain link blocked it. So playing around cards like Ogre was quite well done there, as we saw here. Where was that? The chain link block of one of the effects where the Baphomet was activating. Yeah, the Gazelle blocked it from being destroyed, as you can see right there. Engraver searching for a Fiendsmith Tract. Tract is going to be further searching for a Lurie, so that was the big Droll check. Thankfully, no Droll, as the Lurie is reborn in. Now, when do you Veil? You're going to use Veiler on the sequence, but then we're going to follow up with Triple Tactics Talents, which we could further look at their hand, return a card back, or we could choose to draw two. So let's find out what happens from here as we make the sequence. The play's about to happen after the Edgem Chain searches, and now we did not sequence. Further going into a Polymerization plus searching for an Edgem Chain. Now, we're going to activate sequence into a Veiler. We're going to chain, dodge the Veiler, but we could dodge the dodge by adding another Veiler to the sequence. Veil again. Double Veiler onto the same body. Now, what do we have here? If your opponent breathes, they do anything, you're going to be able to banish a Polymerization or a fusion spell to then pop a card in the field, which we do have. We do have Regina, which I don't think is going to be usable, right? Azamina or Sinful Spoil card has to be activated. I don't see where we have that. And we do have a, what else do we have? Do we really have that much here? I'm getting my finger ready. We got Droll in addition to the Magnum. The Chimera Fusion is a form of disruption. It could go into a Guardian Chimera to pop multiple cards. That is something. We do have reactionary cards. The Sword Knight can negate an activation of a card in the field. That could be good against, let's say, a sequence. The Codal could protect us from being targeted. I'm not going to count that as a form of disruption. I'd say we have about 4 disruption, not counting the Called By. But I mean, Called By fingering the Engraver may as well be counted as a form of disruption because that is immensely disrupting. Finger the Engraver, be gone. You can't say, oh, and we regained after, where the regained could have returned it back to have drawn a card. That is unfortunate timing with the regained. As I was going to say, we can't say, oh, I mean, he didn't get to go first, so, you know, coin flip won, right? Well, he won the coin flip. He chose to go second. So that is the unfortunate case with that scenario. Despite your deck being filled to the brim with nonstop hand traps, we did not open well for going second, which we wanted to do. 2 Veiler for your deck is no bueno. We needed some turn-ending cards. Even a Retaliating Sea could have been great. Maybe we could pinpoint why they have fallen off. Or are they being slept on? We're going to be tributing off the Sacred Fire King Garunic, searching for the Hallowed Azamina to get Fusion Summoning into Rasala Go. To the Go, we say no with the Impermanence. Now we could use the Hallowed Azamina to return her back to then summon a Sylvia. And as you can see here, we have not committed to a normal summon yet. Return her back to then now make our full plays with our Ponix. Let's talk about all of our disruptions. We're waiting for a fire monster to be destroyed to summon the Arvata, which will then pop a card in the field. Or the Arvata will be getting the, I should say, this one, the Kieran, that is. Arvata is going to be negating a monster. Kieran is going to be destroying a card in the field. The Amble Whale, do we have in Grave something rebornable that's good? No Masquerina, but it does have the ability to pop a card in the field, so that's triple disruption through a negate, a pop, and a pop. We then also have a Promethean Princess, which is a pop on special summon. We also have Sylvia, which is negate to anything. We have Ash, which is negate an interaction with the deck. That's about 6 disruption, I'm counting. And we maybe have the Hyang playing. We do. The Hyang on summon will destroy all other monsters on the field. It's going to be the last thing we do, otherwise it disrupts our own field. And that's going to be when your opponent special summons a monster. So that's 7 disruption. Are we good with 7? I think so. 7 disrupt. Let's go. Oh boy. Your timer was low. Okay, Fake Bo says my timer was low, so he undercooked. Druid Swarm is banishing the Link Karibo. Send Druid Swarm to summon our Bishop Libellion, triggering the Druid Swarm to send a special summon monster to the grave. Goodbye to Sylvia. We're now down to 6 disruption. Kieran's going to pop the Ambler Whale, which will reborn the Sunlight Wolf. We cannot trigger Garunix, though. There's not enough room to have the Ambler Whale and the Garunix both be triggering. We're going to grab another copy of Quem. There you go. The big question there has been answered. Magna Hut banishing our own Mercurier, sent there by the Quem to trigger the Mercurier to search for an Albaz monster as the Regain returns back the Mercurier to draw a card as the Magna Hut Chainlink blocks it all to draw. You are blowing up the field with the Sanctuary. It's happening. Hyang is here with a full field wipe. Oh boy. On a separate chain, it will now be activating. Grab the Cartesia. Quem is triggering. Regained is triggering. And Hyang is triggering to wipe out the entire field as the Sunlight Wolf also adds an in-grave monster. Adding back the Divine Carnate, Kurikara. Wipe the field except itself. We're now down to how much forms of disruption? I guess we still have potentially 5. Flameburst triggering to reborn. We have the Garunix triggering. We have the Amble Whale triggering to pop a card because of the wolf being destroyed by our own card effect. Non-target pop, say goodbye to Regain. We're now down to 4 disruptions. Now the Garunix on field will activate to destroy a Kieran. And with that destroyed Kieran, we are going to be going through our other forms of disruption. We added Branded Fusion, then returned it back. Oak is also Chainlink blocking the Garunix to either add back or summon the Poplar. You decide on resolution. And now, it's time. Summon our Vata with a non-target pop, taking out the Druid Storm. We're at 3 disruption. We have a monster negates. Negate with the Arvata right now by destroying a fire card. That fire card will be our Poplar. We now have engrave the Promethean waiting for a special summon, and we have Ash. There it is. We're going to get poppin'. It's a targeting pop, so we're going to chain Cartesia to fuse in response to the Promethean Princess. Thus, Promethean did nothing but force out our early fusion summon. All we have left is Ash Blossom. Nothing else. I started this with 7, from 7 to 1. 6 disruptions have been burnt through. Sylvia got wasted on the Druid Swarm sending to the graveyard. So with just our Ash, what is good? Serenir sent from the deck a branded loss. We're going to use the Retribution to add the branded Speller Trap engrave back to our hand. This is all set up to perfectly play around the Ash. We know they have Ash. You don't go into the Ash with a branded fusion. You saw us return branded fusion back. We didn't need the branded fusion, which would have been negated by Ash. We branded in white instead, ensuring that we have an Albaz engrave, which we do. And now's the time, playing perfectly through that Ash Blossom. Let's do it. Libellion, come forth and summon. On summon, discard the Albion, triggering the branded Lost. Make sure to put your fusion summon effects on the lowest chain link 1, so that the branded loss will give you the ability that your opponent cannot respond to your fusion summons. As we summon our Mirror Jade. Now, Mirror Jade can respond to its own fusion summon, meaning they cannot respond to Mirror Jade activating because it's in response to a fusion summon. Non-target monster banishing the Promethean Princess. Say goodbye to the Hyang, triggering the Mirror Jade to say goodbye to this entire field. Add. Okay, come on. You're blue balling me. Okay, add, set from the deck, okay. Summon from the deck, cheese. Oh, you're also gonna fuse with their field, sure. Into Rinbrum, that's pretty good. That was great. As it can negate an extra deck monster, then return a card back. Wipe the field! Okay, that was pretty quick. Now, what we have here, Hollowed Azamina. Return the Sylvia engraved back to the extra deck to grab the Hollowed Azamina. As we Fire King Island pop the Ponix, grab the Ring Ball. Who plays the Ring Ball? You do. As we summon the Garunix to, we're out of Kirins to pop. That is a problem. We need the Sunlight Wolf to recycle the Kirin. We're going to fusion summon, fuse into our Sylvia. We now have our negate. Now, on our own side, we're going to be reborning with the Quem, which will then get negated by the Sylvia, which the Rinbrum will negate the negate mate. Negate. And we could return a card back if we want to. Say goodbye to the Garunix as the Quem perfectly reborns back the activatable Mirror Jade. Now, anything that's been activated can be tributed by the Kurikara Divine Carnate, which does not activate when tributing. We have the non-target monster banish of the Mirror Jade plus the branded banishment. Ring Bali is going to negate the banishment. Now, what we have left is a Mercurier. Ooh, you can't negate because you must be negating the activation, right? Had this stated that you can negate the activation, if it instead said you can negate the effect, it would have negated it. The reason why it can't negate the activation is because Branded Banishment has the effect to perform a fusion summon. And a card that has the effect to perform a fusion summon, the activation of those cards that include the effect of fusion summon cannot be negated. Only the effect can be negated, not the activation. We're going to Ash, negate the Quem. We're going to Mirror Jade, non-target monster banish. So even though we included the effect of fusion summon and we're not fusion summoning, we are still not negatable. The activation, that is. Non-target monster banishing the Kurikara. We still have the Mercurier ready to negate. I'm going to negate. Now, Mercurier negates the effect, not the activation. Thus, it's not activatable in the damage step, but the Diablo Star does not activate in the damage step. We're in the battle step, so it is an easy negate. But what the? When your opponent activates a card in response to your Diablo Star monster, the Engraved Betrayal negates. Wow. We're going to chain banish Mercurier, but it's still going to be negated. Interesting. Pushed into the back row Mirror Jade. Now, we're in a situation. The Mirror Jade states, you can only control one Mirror Jade. And while in the back row, you control one Mirror Jade. So we can't summon another Mirror Jade while this is in the back row. That's a problem. Big problem. Mercurier adding the Golden Sword Soul. We're going to use the Rinbrum reborning itself back in the field. It already activated. On the... What is this? This is like draft Yu-Gi-Oh! We were using some weird effects here. Normally not used. When the opponent declares an attack, special summon, negate the attack, and then if you control a fusion monster that mentions Albaz, which is the Rinbrum, which we made sure to summon before an attack, you get to also destroy that monster that declared that attack. How did we not know? Albion triggering the end phase to now grab our branded fusion. Brand High Spirits, further adding back to the hand. Cartesia, further adding back to the hand if a fusion monster was sent to the grave this turn. What are our forms of, yeah, we did all that on the opponent's turn, huh? It never even was our own turn. What can Fake Bow do? Not much. We're going straight into a Baron to floor. And this is where Fake Bow goes, what? You're a fusion deck. Fusion deck branded does not play Baron to floor. This should not have been summoned. But it was. Yeah. What the hell? Burying the Floor is not played in Branded, as you see it being played in Branded. Lethal damage. Fake Bow, show me the way, as we just have Baldrake as our only form of disruption, which I can't imagine it doing much. Let's see. Bonfire adding the Snake Eye Ash. Unfortunately, we have the limited one Poplar already in our hand. We just discarded Grass because the opponent... Stigmata's got 55 cards in his own deck, so the Grass, which then mills your deck to be equal to the opponent's deck size, does absolutely freaking nothing. Unbelievable. Bruh, what are you doing? Transaction rollback in the graveyard could target the Eradicator. Eradicate all spells or traps. You have to choose one. We're doing it now? What? Yeah, spells? Yeah, okay. Goodbye to the brand opening. And we got to see their hand. Okay. Interesting. Why wait, right? Just do it now. As we now make an Apollo USA, trigger the Flame Burge. We also could see it, no Nibiru. We see exactly there's a Bestial. We get to now just properly plan out our plays. Promethean, Reborn, and just like that, Baldrake attempts to activate in the end phase. We're going to... Ooh. Did we make an oopsie? Does this destroy? It doesn't destroy, it just negates. We should have known the Betrayal, especially getting betrayed in the very first duel, that this is in response to the activation of the Deception Sinful, which we could have waited for the resolution to then activate the Baldrake, which then this would have not been activatable unless we wanted them to waste it. Maybe? Probably not. I think we just forgot. Not too big of a deal, but it does not waste the Apollo now, which may actually end up being a big deal. Ooh, Gold Sark is gone. So not only, in addition to our disruptions, we have the Eradicator, deleting any spell card that is drawn or that was currently in the hand or on the field. We then have triple monster negate with the Apollo USA. That's 4 disruption total, with one of them being a Floodgates. We have the Call by the Grave, which I think against Branded I can consider to be a disruption, so I'll count that. The Promethean is awkwardly on the field though, and we have no way to get it into the grave. How do we get it into the grave? I do not see it. How did this happen? How did we have Promethean stuck on the field? Volcanics? How? Okay, actually, you're right. Thank you. We do have a way. I didn't see the Volcanics. Flame Burst, could summon Volcanics to then pop the Promethean, so the Promethean will be a disruption. And then we do have the Sacred King Garunix. Is it in the grave, or we'll search it with Volcanics? So we have, let's start this over. Eradicator, Apollo, Promethean, the Kirin, Arvata will be searched for. We have 7 disruption plus a Call by the Grave, 8. 8 disruption. Well, 7 plus an Eradicator. How are we gonna play through this? So I'll take off the Eradicator. There you go. As I said, grab Arvata, trigger Garunix, but we lose a disruption by popping Kirin early. So we're now down to 6 disruption. Okay, it's fine. 6 disrupt to get a monster negate out early. Albion sending Retribution by a cost. Apollo negating Albion? I don't know about that. And then now Baldrake could activate within the same chain of the Apollo, so Apollo can't negate. Arvata negating. The cost is what's good about this. The effect was put this to the bottom of the deck. Who cares about putting it to the bottom of the deck? In fact, it's better that it's in the grave because it is an Albaz in the grave. Definitely don't negate that. Summon an Albur, Chainlink block with a Tragedy. Hayang is also another form of disruption, I would say yes. We're gonna be Promethean Princessing in response to the summon, which was Chainlink blocked from being negated by Apollo. We're gonna Call by the Grave, finger the Albaz in grave, And then I guess we can Hyang, so we'll go back up to 4 disruption. So we have Apollo. We have the Hyang. Wipe it out. Promethean is here. Tragedy triggering to grab a Quem from the deck as an Albaz is currently negated. Grabbing our branded fusion. Arvata triggering to reborn the Garunix. Quem on summon is going to get negated by the Apollo. So let's actually see how much disruption we actually have from here. We have 1 more negate plus the Sanctuary going to the Hyang with a full field wipe. I don't think we have any other form of disruption if we're not counting the Eradicator. We have 2 more disruption left to play through. And by battling and taking out the Apollo, we're now down to 1 disruption. Branded Fusion. Send from the deck an Albaz and Cartesia. When do we Hyang? If we would trigger it right now, it would then summon, and then on a separate chain, will activate to destroy everything. But if we summon a Lubellion, what, you're activating Hyang with Lubellion? Lubellion Chainlink 1, Hyang Chainlink 2, and then Lubellion gets wiped out. We then summon a Mirror Jade afterward, after your final 4 disruption, but maybe we only triggered it because we timed out? Holy moly. What a crazy duel. Timing out within the first 2 turns, that is just the state of Yu-Gi-Oh! All of the duel happens within the first 2 turns. Insane. Sharon's going to start off right away by discarding a Hovness by card effect and milling 3, triggering Diffuse into our Kit Cal. Using it up, returning 3 to come forth and summon our Desiree. Now, ideally, we have a good way to get the sequence in grave. If not, we have the unfortunate activation on field to equip into our Desiree. Now, the Beatrice becomes great when we're able to trigger a fusion summon during the opponent's turn. So during the opponent's turn, we have 2 options. We actually have more than 2 options. We have quite a few. We could go into a Dragostapelia, which could negate a monster on the field. We could go into a Rukalos, which could negate an effect that would special summon. We could go into a Kaleido Heart, which could spin a card on the field back in the deck. And that comboed up with the Sulliek. Because we have Sulliek, I would say we should go for the Kaleido Heart because it will then, it's like triple disruption. It's fuse spin, negate a monster, and fuse again into another disruption just from that triple. And then we have Desiree, which is untargetable. Itself, it's untargetable, and it also performs a non-target negate of up to 2 cards in the field. So that's 4 disruption. We then have the Fenrir, which can banish a monster or a face-up card face down. And then the Birth. Let's say they were to activate something like a Fiendsmith track, discard a Lurie, it would then banish it face down before the Lurie comes out. I'm not going to really count that as a form of disruption, so we have 3, 4, 5, and then in grave, do we have a random Fairy Tale Snow, all backed up by a Maxi. Let's see what's good. Ooh, hero lives into Maxi, draw per special summon. Likely a Stratos will be coming out here. Stratos is here on summon, searching our deck for a hero. We have Ferris. Now we're going to use Beatrice to send Hovness. We're also going to draw a card with Garura. Chainlink blocking Hovness from a Ghost Bell. Yeah, I don't think Ghost Bell is really that too prevalent, but we do get that block, I guess. As we return 3 cards back, as I said, to go into the Kaleido Heart. Kaleido Heart on summon, spin the Stratos, back in the deck you go. As Ferris discards Malicious, setting up into the back row and increase. We're going to use Fenrir before the increase equips itself into the back row. And the back row, is it considered a spell? Because it's important when it comes to Birth. Let's read it's a continuous, you don't have to read anything, it says it. Continuous trap, so the Birth will not trigger. Malicious Vanishing to summon another Malicious from the deck, all under max frequency, by the way. Tribute off Malicious to summon Increase, and then activate to get negated by sending the Kaleido Heart. That's when Kaleido's going to reborn and then summon a Rukalos. Or I don't think we get Rukal. We actually have to go into a Dragostapelia, I'm thinking. Send Rhino, reborn by sending Sharon, trigger the Sharon to then fuse into Dragostapelia. Yup, there we go. As I said, we have Desiree and Dragostapelia as our 2 forms of disruption. Hero Cross Crusader to reborn a monster from Engrave. Dragostapelia not only negating the effect to reborn, but the second effect to search our deck will also be negated. Negate. With just Desiree, we're going to negate the Fusion Destiny. Negate. Now you're further negated in addition to being negated, and the Birth also triggers to banish 3 cards in your grave face down. And that's it. We have no more forms of disruption. We did +6 off of Maxi so far. What the heck's going on? We actually +7'd, right? We discarded a Sharon from our hand, so we special summoned 7 freaking times? What is it? Infernal Rage. Okay, I thought we were going into like a Trinity. Drawing into a Parelia. We have Infernal Rage triggering alongside the Liquid Soldier. Draw 2, then discard after we search for our favorite contact. Getting the Denier Engrave. We're going to tribute ourselves to come forth and summon into a Sunrise. Sunrise searching for a Miracle Fusion. As we further link this up into a Wonder Driver, if you summon to where it's pointing to it, recycles a fusion card in Grave. Let's fuse using the Grave to come forth and go into an Escuardo. Escuardo is here. We are super flaming on, by the way. What the heck is going on? The real Jaden at the top. We are Miracle Fusing. How many cards here? What is that? Like 6? 7? Into Wake Up Your Elemental Hero at 4,600 attack. What is this card doing? This states against 300 per material used for its fusion summon. This card can make a number of attacks on monsters each battle phase up to the number of fusion monsters. I think it's up to 7, and we are going to reduce the Dragostapelia to half of its attack, dealing 3,250, and then activating to destroy it and burn for an additional 2,700. Take out Beatrice, burn for 2,500. Lethal damage under the Maxi challenge. Ain't no freaking way. We won that. The interaction with the deck that we want to negate will be the increase that we're equipping into the back row at the Ferris. Ooh, hit him with the C and the Parelia. We are drawing 2 for this Ferris summon. 1, 2. We have Retaliating C now. Ready to summon on the activation of a spell that includes the effect to summon. I would ash this. This is summoning a Vian, which Vian super pops off. Would send a card from the deck, then search for a polymerization. Great use of Ash. We have the Malicious Banishing to summon a Malicious from the deck. You can see here we're under 3 lingering effects here. We are keep on drawing as the Cross Crusader reborns the Malicious. We do not care. We won the Maxi challenge earlier. Let's just do it again. Well, Droll not only turns you off from adding cards from your deck to your hand, but now the party of us continually drawing cards has come to an end. It goes both ways. It's a symmetrical disruption. No more draws for us, no more searches for you. But because of that, it looks like you are going straight to the battle phase early without lethal, being forced to end on just 2 disruptions. We have Imperm and Droplet, that is it. Unicorn is here searching for the Birth. Birth could further reborn the Unicorn after we use it for summoning a Link monster we could do, as we have Hovness being sent to the graveyard to trigger a fusion summon, Chainlink blocking it with the Rhino Heart, sending the Sulik from in hand in grave. Hovness fuse away with the Parelia, as I said, good for fusion materaling, into our Kit Kalos. We do want to imperm this, I would say. Sulik is going to further triggering, imperm onto the Kit Cal to try our best to disallow the ability to mill 5. We do not want that mill 5 to happen, plus the search and or send, and plus reborn a monster on the field. We're going to grab a tier cash. We just have Droplet left as our only form of disruption, as the Sharon is going for a triple monster fusion summon into Kaleido Heart. Kaleido Heart on summon, sending away the Droplet, not even worth activating, as we go into a super thick Apollo USA Quadra Monster Negate. We got nothing, mate. Tier caches here. Mill 3 as the cache birth. Reborn's the unicorn. Further, holy crap, we're just getting started. What the heck is this? I'm now entering the Fiendsmith phase. Let's speed this up. Requiem into Engraver. Yeah, that's same. Just leave. Uh-oh, firing off Pirellia early. Huh? We did not finger nor ash the Pirellia. Okay. Interesting. Well, you draw one for that, and I'm just going to end. It's not a big deal. I think Ziad instead thought of the better idea. Why finger Abe Malcharmi when we could instead finger a Havnis? We could finger a Sharon. In this matchup against Tier Limit, where you definitively know what you're playing against, that is a way better use of your finger. I think so. And then the mash change into Dark Law, it's coming. Any cards being sent to the grave will be banished instead. Bro, what are you playing? What is this? I can't believe he max-C'd you, not even knowing that you didn't even have a freaking play. Max-C in the end phase. Okay. As we summon Dark Law. We do get to draw off of that. Oh my Jesus. Bro, what is this? Are you a Tenpai deck? I can't even. Dark Law is going to be randomly banishing a card because you drew off of the Max C as we search for our Vian. This will be an interesting duel. Now, is Droll activatable? Droll has to be sent to the graveyard by cost, and the Dark Law prevents that cost from being paid. Now, Ash does not have the cost of being sent to the grave. It just says discard this card. It is still activatable. Straight to battle, 2400. We're not going to try to Vian. Okay, the graveyard banishment, it's only one way. It's only on the opponent. It's not on ourselves. We're poking. 24 poke. Back to back, get 24 in. Now, Sharon's not going to be too good because she will send the card to the graveyard from our hand and also mill 3, which will all get banished. How do we deal with the Dark Law? We're still doing it. Banish, Droll, mill, nothing. Exceeds into the Time Thief Redoer, which is strong enough to go even with the Dark Law. Uh-oh. That is a problem. Okay, we're going to start making plays now. Vian on summon, send from the deck in Malicious. Call by the Grave does have to preemptively finger the Malicious before it activates as it banishes by cost. Vian is going to be banishing his search for a polymerization. Ash will be negating. And this is where we have the dreaded decision. Do we save the finger for a tier limit, or do we search for our polymerization by fingering the Ash? Now, if you finger Ash, you're also fingering your own Ash. It will not be usable next turn. Do you want to do that? I don't think so. Holy crap, we did it. Our own Ash has been fingered now. I don't know. I don't know about this. This a bit sus. We do have the Triple Tactics talent activatable, and we do get that polymerization. We got hit by the freaking Droll now. We were not expecting Droll. As we flip this up, go into a Cross Crusader, which could reborn from the grave, but cannot search because of Droll. We have 4 lingering effects. What the heck? Malicious is negated, Ash is negated, Droll, Cross Crusader gave a lingering effect. Triple Tactics talent is going to look at the hand, returning back an already negated Ash. To battle we go. 2,700. How are we so barely off lethal? 500 life points left, and you are left completely defenseless. You have nothing. We didn't even get to use the polymerization, and your Ash is fingered by yourself. Oh my gosh, an Engraver off the top of the deck? No way, that's a full 1-card combo. Uh-oh. I guess we flame on for this. We super flame on. We flame it on. Let's go. Is this game? 1-card Engraver. 8,000 life. Don't even Ash. Don't even. Requiem. Into Engraver. If you're wondering what's going on, the Ash is fingered. She's negated. Straight up negated. You can see right there. Yup, it shows it in game. Use an Engraver to send Requiem plus say goodbye to the Cross Crusader as we now link into the sequence. Sequence fusing the Grave into Lacrima. Lacrima is going to be targeting the other Engraver to add back to the hand or summon itself onto the field. To the field it goes. We're going to further, oh my Beatrice, we just got started. We are halfway through our combo. Send Havnis. Fuse with the Pirelli and Havnis to make a Kit Kalos. Will Ziad just surrender before this combo ends? Kit Cal searching for a Rhino. We have not even normal summoned yet. Kit Cal, reborn the Sharon. Mill 5. Nothing triggered off the mill as the Rhino normal summons to send a Sharon for our final fusion summon. Fuse away into Rukalos. 10,000 damage on the field from a single Engraver. Beatrice for game. Wow. A single slip up with our own finger, fingering our own ash. Begin. Starting off right away with the Senjin to set itself into the backcourt at the cost of 2,000 life to search for the Golem. Half your life points for this is worth to search for a Wedju Temple also? Wedju Temple? Holy crap, what the heck was that? Place one monster from your hand in your spell and trap zone and place a Millennium from your deck in your back row. So we put the Diablo Star and the Golem. The Golem already activated, but we do have the Doom Dragon now activatable, which could send 2 of our back row cards to special summon. Interesting. Okay. Half your life. Or the normal summons have been used. We have something to send to the graveyard for a Diablo Star. Let's see our forms of disruption here. Great use of drolling ourselves. We have Veiler to negate a monster on field. We have Ash, negate an interaction with the deck. We then have the Flameburge or Divine Temple to summon our Masquerina, which can then go into a Little Knight to banish a card on field or engrave and then banish again. So that's 5 disruption. And then we have the Apollo USA with a negate. Did I mix up disruption here? We have the Masquerina, Little Knight banish, Little Knight, and then Veiler, and then the Ash. Okay, I think I got mixed up. And then we have the Apollo, Monster Negate, Monster Negate, Monster Negate. That's 7 disruption. And then we have the Promethean Princess in graveyard for 8 forms of disruption. Is 8 enough against a 6-card hand? Let's go. Tracked and Lurie. As we then discard the Lurie, trigger the Lurie, engrave, reborn. We're not going to use Apollo USA on that. Interesting. As we now make our Fiendsmith Requiem. We're going to Wanted Seeker, searching for our Diablo Star, not ashing that. Send from our hand Poplar. We're not going to chain link block the Diablo Star. We're protecting Poplar instead. Normally you put the Poplar in the higher chain link to protect the Diablo Star, waiting for the activation of Apollo to then activate Requiem in the same chain so it cannot be negated by the Apollo, but then the Ash negates, then using the crossout designate to negate the negate. Negate the Ash. So Diablo Star was a bait. We bait Apollo to then use the Requiem instead. Interesting plays here. Now we're going to be firing off the Masquerina from the back row, going straight into the Little Knight double banish play. The initial banish will be on summon. On summon, we're going to be activating Little Knight, banishing away the Engraver, chainlink block and something like, let's say, a Ghost Bell, if the Flameburge would have been negated by that potentially. Oak on summon, reborn the Poplar, all alongside the Ash, as we now summon a Link Rebo on field to protect the Apollo from the Diablo Star swinging in. We now have the follow-up Deception, Sinful Spoil, tributing a monster from our hand or field, searching for the Hollowed Azamina. Paladin Azamina sending the Sinful Deception. We're going to chain the Little Knight to banish away the Diablo Star on field. Sure. Rosala goes our intended summon, which will on summon activate to search our deck for an original Sinful. We're going to Veil or Negate. No such search will happen. Negate. Ooh, and the Rosalago was taking a negate off the Apollo by reducing her attack by 500. We're going to use Wanted Secret to randomly draw into an Engraver, swing into the Link Karibo, and we still preserved our double Apollo negate, which now again loses the negate, but we also had the Promethean Princess, which we chose to not use. We didn't have to use it. Zombie Vampire activating again. Mill 4 cards from both players. Absolutely insane. We're going to be reborning the Engraver, equipping the Engraver with the Requiem, send the Requiem plus the Rosalago to the graveyard. Everything into attack position, getting boosted up by the field spell as we then make a Fiendsmith sequence. Sequence is going to be fusing with the graveyard. 3 bodies to come forth and summon our Desiree. Desiree is going to be equipped with the sequence, giving the ability to non-target negate up to 2 cards in the field as the Snake-Eyed Diablo Star summons itself from the back row, pushing the opposing Diablo Star into the back row with over 11,000 damage. Just like that, Nizu goes in for game. Nizu's got plays. Nizu's got an interesting version of the deck, I'd say. Tracked. Add from the deck a Lurie. We are waiting when the Ash Blossom should be used, which would be Requiem or saving it for the core engine of someone's deck instead. Tracked is fusing. So what could have happened here is you could feel the delay of the Ash. If I feel your Ash by activating a card that searches, but you didn't want to Ash, I'm not going to use Requiem, which will then hard minus to the Ash, then I can't make my plays. So in this instance, unless we purposely wanted them to go into Caesar and we hold onto our Ash, you have to toggle off. You got to hide the Ash. You also have to further turn off special summon animations so that if something was ashable on a summon of an extra deck monster, even with your toggle off, that it won't be displayed. Now, that wasn't the case for this turn, but that's just a further precaution of toggling off to not show what you have in hand. Because I can't explain this outside of we revealed our Ash. Caesar's a double special summon negate. We have Ghost Ogre Mate. We have the Ash Block. Ooh, we Ogre it. Yeah? Ogre pop the temple. Not today. You're not able to set up 2 cards in your back row. We got the Senjin, which is going to be searching for the golem that we already have at the cost of half our life by summoning both of them. We got 2 bodies now. Ash negate a Bonfire. Well, I would say it's now okay to negate Bonfire because we are in a Droll and Lockbird meta. We are now going to tribute summon for Flameburge. What the heck is going on? Our double disruption from Caesar is now deleted by battle. While Caesar is incredible to summon, the fact that everyone knows that they're trying to summon Caesar makes Caesar worse. Because I'm seeing people now play Subversion. Subversion searchable with the Poplar. And they could potentially use Subversion or any other card, like let's say just battling over your Caesar before you could even get the chance to negate with your double negate on Caesar. Now, our Engrave is now in the back row, so that's kind of a problem here, a huge problem. What the? And you're gonna steal it? Is that safe to do? Ash, negate, Maxi. Your Engraver is mine. I mean, we see their hand. We don't know that they have a way to, let's say, Diablo Star send into the graveyard, and then all of you would be like, what? Why did you could have special summoned it before they Diablo Starred, before the original Sinfold? They could shotgun original Sinfold right away to get in the grave. Stole our Engraver. Unbelievable. We had great plays with Engraver. We had full combo with Engraver plus a hand trap, normal summon. Now, we are under the effect of Fua Loss. Ash on summon searching for a Poplar. It's not going to stop us from game. Nope. Divine Temple. Bah. Boost up the field, 10,000 plus damage. And just like that, a normal summoned Flameburge stole the entire duel. Normal summoned Flameburge thanks to the Millennium engine, Millennium Exodia. By normal summoning the Flameburge, it dealt with Caesar, and it completely dealt with the Engraver. That's insane. 2-0. And that was the top 16. Thank you, YouTube. Continue in the next video with the top 8 grand finale and top deck list. I'll see you there.